Jordan Travis is the 6th best quarterback in 2023. Those words were not uttered per se, but they were shown to the world on social media earlier today as we record on a Tuesday. On3 ranked the top quarterbacks in college football for 2023. Jordan Travis was 6th on the list alongside Gene Williams, the founder and administrator of WarchantTV. My name is Tom Lang. Like and subscribe. Like this video. Subscribe to WarchantTV because we're going to disagree. Just a spoiler alert. 6th in the country in 2023, Jordan Travis. There are 5 better quarterbacks in college football than Jordan Travis. Gene Williams, I'm sorry. Agree to disagree with the mothership here. That's plainly not true.
Yeah, I mean, basically most of the stuff you look at, and we'll show the list here in a minute, but all the guys are household names. I get it in the top 6. I mean, you can make a case, I guess, for pretty much anyone on that list, although Jordan would be definitely, I mean, I could see, obviously, Caleb Williams defending Heisman Trophy when Drake May putting up ridiculous numbers last year and probably will again because they just more on a volume base than anything else. He just throws the ball so freaking much. But after that, I got a little bit of an issue with this. And I think, and now you're going to get into some of the details, Tom, but to me, this is a function of the media is a little bit behind a lot of times. When you talk about evaluating teams, whether they're on the downtrend or the uptrend, they're behind. And I think for players too, you got to remember in 2021, Jordan wasn't even the full-time starter. Florida State went into last season. What was the over-under on 6.5 wins last year?
Yep.
And then after that first, he played well against LSU. That was a national game. But then I think he kind of faded into the background. And, they had that 3-game losing streak when a couple of the more high-profile games that would have been people pay more attention to. And he didn't play great, honestly, in those games. He played his best ball at the end of the year when the nation had already basically tuned Florida State out. So I think there's just those writers. I'm not just slamming on3 here who came up this list. I think we're going to see this on some other lists. I think people just are not taking a deep enough look at what he did, especially at the end of last year. Look deep into the metrics on what he's able to do. And then, Tom, when we look ahead to next year, there's more than just the quarterback. Is the quarterback coming back? Has he established himself? What skill talent's coming back? Is the coaching staff intact? What's the offensive line look like? What's all this skill talent looking at? When you look at Jordan Travis for that, it's check, 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 check across the board. So not being in the top 3 in my mind is somebody's being a little lazy with their analysis.
Yeah, I mean, you could just even look at the Heisman future odds. Right now, Jordan Travis tied for 3rd in the futures. Of course, Caleb Williams is number 1, and Drake May is 2nd in the country. But for Florida State's Jordan Travis is 3rd with a host of other potentials to make it to New York for the Heisman ceremony in December. Gene, I've got a lot of bones to pick with this particular graphic. Number 1, you might as well put a photo of number 1 next to the list. If Caleb Williams might as well be the guy. I don't know why the 2nd-ranked player. This reminds me when ESPN did the top 11 years ago with the University of Florida. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
The football top 11 in Florida was the 11th in the country. Put number 1 next to a top 10 list. Caleb Williams, without a doubt, Gene. I'm not going to argue that point. That dude is a freak, and he affects the game in so many different ways. Drake May, arguable, but yes, if at least. As a pocket passer, as an NFL prospect, things like that.
He's going to put up ridiculous numbers, right? Isn't that part of it too?
Yes. Michael Penix? Are you kidding me? No way. Bo Nix. So you're going to tell me that Bo Nix and then his takeoff season in Oregon, you're going to do the math on that and be up to date on Bo Nix more than you are Jordan Travis and the meteoric he had in 2022. So I'm not even going to address the number 5 because that offense is boring at Notre Dame. And they've got a lot to prove. They got a new offensive coordinator. Actually, both Oregon and Notre Dame have new offensive coordinators this year. And Hartman's going to a brand new offense.
The slow mesh is done. I don't think you're going to see that there. Do you remember how he played at the end of the year, Tom?
Yes, poorly. How many turnovers did he have against Louisville on the road? Was it like 5 in a matter of a quarter? It was something.
Jordan has never played that bad a game in his life, and that's if you saw him play at all in those games last second of the year. There's no way you could have him ahead of Jordan Travis, and barely even in the top 10.
Correct. He's top 3. This is an easy one. Look, on3, we love you, mothership, but he's top 3, and you know what? We can verify it. Gene, I got so fired up, I decided to do a little bit of research. Here it is, 2022. These are their ratings among the top 6 that On3 ranked. This is where they are relative to each other. So it's not their rating against the whole of college football. Bryce Young would certainly be ranked higher than a few of these quarterbacks. So just compared to each other, here were their numbers for 2022, and here's where they finished relative to each other. Then all the way on the right, we take a look at a column of their average finishing place in these 3 categories. Quarterback rating, which we all know. the ESPN QBR, which takes into account a little bit more of the ground game, what a quarterback provides as an offensive player. And then the same thing with PFF. I did not go by the passing grade for PFF. I went by the offensive grade, which means it's a comprehensive look. Gene, you know it just as well as I do. In college football, there's more than just drop back passing for a quarterback, a lot more to it. The NFL is starting to grow that way as well. But these are all of their ratings. And as you can see, Gene, read him and weep. Jordan Travis was the second best quarterback, second most consistent quarterback across these efficiency metrics. What are we doing, Gene?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Again, it's hard to kind of justify that place when you look not only your numbers, which are great, you putting that together, but when you talk about Heisman odds, you talk about how did they trend at the end of the year. You look at some of the other, I mean, look at the touchdown interception ratio, some other metrics you don't have up here that are really off the charts for him. And like I said before, I think the biggest point is you have to take a holistic approach, look at everything coming back for next year.
Yep.
There's not a player on that list that has much skill talent coming back as Jordan Travis does, and actually an upgrade when you get some of the other players coming in, the tight end transfers, the receivers that are coming back, the offensive line upgrades. There's just absent an injury, it's hard to imagine. I don't see a scenario of him not being in the top 3. So yeah, it's nitpicking. He's 6. It's not bad. It's not like they had him outside the top 10. But again, to me, if you really do your homework and do a deeper dive into this, it's hard. Outside the 3, I just don't see a case for him being 4 or lower on any preseason list.
And this is the thing. I'll make it simpler. If you're a defensive coordinator and you've got a scheme against these 6 quarterbacks, and which one scares you the most?
Yeah.
Well, you could argue Caleb Williams without a doubt. And I would think that would be, irrespective of Lincoln Riley being his offensive coordinator. That dude is just a headache to prepare for. May's downfield ability is something that would scare me, and you'd have to really take into account. And it's not like he can't move. He is mobile. But Jordan Travis is much more dangerous to me than Bo Nix or Penix or Sam Hartman. I mean, if I've got to scheme a way to stop a guy, Jordan Travis is way up on that list. And that's where you don't have to look into the efficiency metrics or the PFF grade. You could just say, what guy is more dangerous in multiple ways than Jordan Travis out of these 6? And maybe 1 or 2 are. So to me, Gene, it's like, what are we doing here? They'll find out, though, I would think, in 2023.
Well, look at the last 2 games, Florida and Oklahoma, pretty decent, okay defenses. And, just look at the nuts, what he did, the stuff in the backfield, making people miss all over the place, making his progressions, making good decision-making, not turning the ball over. I mean, it's exactly everything you want out of a college quarterback.
Yeah, the thing I'd say, the final point I'd make, Gene, is that Florida game where you've got receivers dropping passes all throughout the first half. You've got turnstiles for offensive linemen for big stretches of that game. When how much magic did Jordan pull out of his back pocket in order to take a negative play, mega negative play, and turn it into a positive? He did it multiple times on multiple drives that night. Again, how many of these dudes on this list are going to be in that situation and able to deliver the way that Jordan Travis does? There's nobody arguing with the guy at the top in Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I would say there's one guy on the list that I would say, and that's the first guy. And they got that one right.
And that's correct. And you know what? Here's the thing. Jordan Travis wasn't even sniffing a top 10 list or a top 20 list. Some argued before last season started if he was a top 6 ACC quarterback. Yeah. So we all figured it out in 2022. And, Gene, I imagine they're going to figure it out next year as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's fine. It's just if it adds a little inspiration, a little extra sauce, that's great. At the end of the day, I know Florida State's going to be ranked top 10, but it's the same thing. You'd almost like them to be outside the top 10. You'd almost like Jordan Travis to be dissed in this team because it's always better to be the hunter than the hunted. And I think they even have these lists out there, but when they're playing LSU in that first game and they're playing Clemson this season and Florida and those teams, they're going to know all about Jordan Travis. And like you said, that is going to be their focus, and they know what a dangerous player they're going up against.
It could be said that Jordan Travis is the best quarterback on the field in all 12 of FSU's games. One of the top contenders, though, will be in week 1 against LSU because the number 7.
He's right under him, isn't he?
The number 7 quarterback is Jaden Daniels from LSU, and there's another dude that's an absolute nightmare to prepare for. We'll have you covered between this day, which is we get mad at lists, and that day where we get happy or mad with 60 minutes of football right here on Warchant TV. He's Gene Williams. My name is Tom Lang. Hit the like button and subscribe to Warchant TV before you move on to your next video. Thanks for watching.